Hi everyone. So actually yeah, it's a bit of a mess right now in my home because I came back overseas. But okay, but just let me talk a little bit more about the drama series, The Glory, and yeah, this is the last point that I was talking about. That narcissists actually engage in this thing called public image management. And in The Glory, there's this aspect of public image management which pervades actually among the bullies. Okay, in my former video, which was actually part one, I've said that actually the character of Yonji is one aspect. Like, for example, she puts forth herself as this very successful person, not just by virtue of her mother's wealth or her own personal job as a weather forecast broadcaster in a television station. She also does that in social media. In social media, she's always which is called social networking system, or yeah, SNS in Korea. Um, she actually puts forth this image of herself as a very very happy successful woman. In terms of, like, her pictures of a $1 million luxury apartment, that where she lives with her husband and her daughter, her her glamorous fashion styles, and then also her awesome job as a weather forecast broadcaster. Supposedly, these are the parts of the whole thing that is going on with her in terms of life. It's a very glamorous life, supposedly a good life, as she puts it out to the public, even to Donglen himself, who's actually looking. But we know that's not really the truth of who she is, because um, in the in the drama series itself, there's this one scene where Do Yong, the husband, Ha Do Yong, he asked Hye Jung, one of her co-conspirators and her so-called friends, whom she actually also abuses, about the relationship between Dong En and his wife, and the husband has no idea. In fact, Hye Jung, the so-called friend, of more likely a flying monkey of Yeonjin, actually tells him, "You really don't know your wife very well enough, do you?" And that was after 12 years of marriage with a girl who's already in elementary school. Um, it is pretty disturbing, and we know that being who she is, Yeonjin being who she is, she has multiple personalities. Like, she's the narcissistic chameleon and a shapeshifter. One moment she can be this woman to someone. She's one woman to Jaejun. She's one woman to Haejung. She's one woman to Sarah. She's different people to different people, and of course we know too that she was also sleeping around with Jaejun, and yeah, she was screwing him while she was also dating Do Young back then, before they were married. And so we know that the true self of Yeonji was not the true self that she actually puts on social media, but in fact it was actually the true psychopathic self that actually broke Donggen's body and spirit. This is the whole thing about the narcissist. The narcissist or the psychopath, their true self is something you do not actually see on social media. You see everything is like, oh, it's so glamorous, everything, but it's not true. And then even, let's say, Sarah, I don't know whether there's any so-called social media, because that she has in the plot of the drama series, but it was suggested that they all had a social media because let's say Haejung was doing investigations on the background of Jaejun. I mean, they were like separated for years. And she finds out that he's in fact still an ultra rich boy, ultra rich man, and so she tries to seduce him to marry him. And of course, Dong'eun was also asking Hyunam to actually conduct snooping on the 5 different bullies, so that she can find out their different pieces of information about them. That includes their social media as well. And so yeah, social media was actually one way by which all these characters, the 5 bullies especially, created a false self. One aspect is like Sarah herself. She's like, in church, her father keeps on preaching, her father being the pastor, preaches about repentance and everything. But and Sarah will be in the, the Sarah, she's in the ministry team. She was like the choir, pretending to be nice, everything. But we know that she wasn't nice. Dongwon actually approaches her in church a few occasions. Firstly, the first occasion to unmask her, to blackmail her for money. A second time to actually blackmail her for some more money as well, to get her to really start, like her so-called tail, that tail of Sarah, put it between her legs. I mean metaphorically, of course. It was really, really extremely ridiculously gratifying from the point of view of someone who has read enough about all these personalities, this dysfunctional personalities, and also experienced them in real life. Because Sarah actually, right in front of the different members of church in a private session, like a session when they were rehearsing before the service, she actually starts crumbling her mask, the public mask of the so-called good girl, the pastor's daughter, crumbles, and she starts swearing in Korean, "Shibal," which is like obviously "fuck you." Like it's the 18 joke, the "shibal," the joke. It's like "fuck you," and she was swearing at Dong'eun, and she crumbles into she falls out in this kind of, it's really narcissistic rage, and of course Dong'eun was like smiling and saying, "You know what?" Because Dong'eun doesn't believe in God. Dong'eun said, "Keep on believing in God. If you die, you go to heaven. That will be hell for you." That was immense sarcasm coming from Dong'eun as the former the abuse victim, but it was kind of like, it was so gratifying. And okay, and another aspect of that public image management that crumbles, and that is being unmasked before us as the audience, is actually Hae-jung herself, the flight attendant. In one of the particular scenes in the first season, she was actually messaged by Yeonjin, by Yeonjin, the head bully, and Sarah herself, to come and meet them. They were like smoking and everything, despite whatever the facades they have. But we see that in fact, she actually, because she's the laundromat owner's daughter, she actually steals one of the dresses, which was a luxury dress, to actually meet the two of them. But she actually ends up getting humiliated by them. The two women, Yeonjin and Sarah, claim, Yeonjin said this, "Sarah, she must have actually stolen your dress." But at least we can say that she has very good taste to know that this is a good dress. That leads to actually Hae-jung crumbling down and crying in tears when the two of them just leave her behind, while gloating over their humiliation of her. But the irony is that social media, after that, when she's being left alone, Hae-jung is actually shown to actually post a selfie on social media while pretending to smile, like putting the kind of the victory sign, on, and trying to be cute. This is a very common thing with in Korean culture with selfies. They try to put on certain cute smiling faces. But we know that this is not the truth. In those selfies and those posts that she actually put on social media, she was in fact not the happy and thankful woman that she claimed to be to her friends. In fact, she was actually being abused by them as well, although she was one of the co-conspirators and bullies. And so we know that there's a difference between the real image that they project on social media and the truth. Because even just go back to the character of Yeonjin herself, yes, she's this glamorous woman, whatever, but in real life she's actually very, very, very cunning and very despicable. For example, in one particular scene, she abuses one of the interns in the TV station. Then she switches again with a very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, by offering to pay for some vacation. And then when the intern leaves and say, someone has been so nice to me, she tells one of her fellow colleagues, "Oh, this fucking bitch, idiot can get bought up by my gifts and my presents. So how stupid are people?" And then even to her husband himself, she doesn't. I don't think she really loves her husband, because you see a few scenes where she's actually always dressed up. She's always a seductive, somatic narcissist in front of her husband. On some scenes, she's always dressed up in sexy lingerie. She's using her beauty. She does different things like putting her leg, her between her husband's legs. I mean, basically his groin area, to try to tease him and seduce him. And she keeps on like lying to him, telling him, oh, you know what, the issue between me and Dong'en, whatever you think it is not what it is. It's been resolved. Obviously, we know it's not been resolved because she really wants to kill her, but can't do so because she has to bide her time. And so this is one thing about the public image management issue of narcissists and psychopaths. They really don't tell the truth, and it's part of their facade. Yeah, it's part of their facade, and all is not really what it appears in social media. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. For my this two series of videos about the glory. That season 2 is coming soon, from what I heard, in March. So I think there'll be more to come, and I'm actually waiting to see what will happen to Yeonjin, that psychopathic bitch. A friend of mine actually told me that she thinks that the way to actually punish Yeonjin, so that there can be closure for Dong'en, is actually for Yeonjin to actually lose her beauty. I said no, it's not enough because Yeonjin has no remorse. The only way is actually through criminal punishment, but which probably won't happen when she's so rich and powerful. That will probably be her death. How she will die is another thing because she killed one of their friends, So-hee, and hid the body somewhere and probably process it or burn it or whatever. But I believe that when the truth comes, and when and Myung-oh was also killed off in the first season. His body can be found as well. Although he's still in the country, and he has booked a ticket to Vladivostok via Singapore Airlines from Korea, but he has not been out of the country still, as found out by Dong'en and Hyungnam. So we see this whole thing. The whole thing is actually, the plot is brewing, and when we reach the next season, I'm actually waiting to see how will happen to Yeonjin and her bunch of friends. Her friends, open and close inverted commas. My suspicion is that there will be definitely the first death being that among Sarah. That of Sarah, because she's heavily addicted to drugs. That is one thing. She relies on everyone like Myung-oh, whatever, to sponsor her druggy lifestyle. Okay, so but anyway, that's it for now, and I'll get back later on about other stuff, and yeah, I'll talk about my travels, everything later on. And yeah, okay, have a good night. Bye bye.